It is day 4 of the Seeding Liberation series, and today we are talking about the shadow of introjection. Now, if you've missed it, I am sharing small, short podcast episodes every day this week as part of this series, and the intention of these mini episodes is really to highlight the different ways that we take on certain protective patterns, survival strategies, coping mechanisms that in many ways live in our unconscious. They are part of unconscious beliefs and patterns of behavior. And this is all leading up to my upcoming program, RootWork for Liberation. Enrollment opens November 24th. And in this program, we are really going to be unearthing and tending to our roots, which means we are illuminating and integrating our shadows. This experience is really about coming to conscious awareness of the different beliefs and patterns that shape your lived experience, that drive how you show up in the world, and tending to them, shifting them so that you can have a more empowered experience of life and story of self. And so this series is all about, where do these things come from? Why do we protect ourselves in this way? Why do we cope with life in the ways that we do? And why is it that our survival strategies and our protective patterns live in our unconscious? Why are they hidden from us? Why are they unknown to us? And in many ways, it's because somehow they are keeping us safe. So, the shadow of introjection. Introjected shadows are shadows that we absorb. Shadows we absorb from the world around us. They might be other people's limitations, other people's insecurities, other people's values. But we internalize the beliefs of our parents, of our mentors, of social values and norms. And we take them on as our own, even if that happens without our conscious awareness. And today, the example I'm going to share with you is my personal, the main example I'm going to share with you is my personal relationship to money. Now, there is an episode in the podcast where I go into so much depth and detail around all this. I'm just going to give you kind of the abbreviated version here. But essentially, my relationship to money is very much shaped by my parents' relationship to money. My own beliefs and patterns around money were absorbed from my parents. So, my dad used money as a mechanism of control. It was a tool to manipulate. That's how my dad used money. And so for me, my experience with how my dad handled money led me to believe that it was unsafe to receive financial support. Because in my experience, there was always a price to pay. Nothing was ever given out of generosity, out of kindness. It was given in order to manipulate. It was given as a tool of coercion and control. And this is part of my unconscious relationship to money. There are many ways in which I unconsciously reject financial abundance because there is some deeper part within me that feels it is unsafe to receive it. I will have to pay a price. And then on the other side, we have my mom. And of course, my dad also used money to manipulate and control my mom. And so my mom, she very much would comply with things in order to have her financial needs met. My mom would allow herself to be controlled because it was the only way that she was given money. My dad didn't let my mom work. He wouldn't let her be independent. So what she always said to me was, make sure you're never in this position. Make sure you're never reliant on somebody else. Okay, I definitely absorbed that, right? Because it tied in so well with the lesson I had learned from my dad. People use money to manipulate. Receiving money is unsafe. And then I take my mom's message, which is do it on your own. Right? And so I have a hyper independence around money, and I reject support. Okay, I've been working with that, right? Like, let's say my current relationship with my partner is very much a space where I am kind of rewiring that, where I'm allowing myself to receive and to practice feeling safe in that. But for most of my life, this is how I've operated. Never need anything from anyone because it will bite you in the ass. You will pay for that. But what else did I absorb? My mom may have told me, never be in this situation, take care of yourself. But what her actions transmitted to me is, and you can't actually do it on your own. You won't actually succeed if no one's helping you. Because my mom would never leave the situation, because her biggest fear was that she wouldn't be able to make it on her own. How could she take care of me and my sister? How could she earn money? She's uneducated. She's inexperienced. My dad never let her work. There's no resume to speak of. Her fear was that she would never be able to make it without him. Oh, and I took that on too. I can't rely on other people to help me. I have to do it by myself. But the deeper unconscious belief is, and I can't. I can't actually do it by myself. Right? Ooh, and when I tell you, this has been like the linchpin of my existence. This is a huge thing for me. And again, if you listen to the episode where I really go into depth in this, I believe it's really related to my soul's intention for growth. Money is a way by which I am learning to master my self-worth. My relationship to money is a constant test for me. Do I believe that I am worthy and that I have something of value to offer regardless of what my financial reality looks like? That is a core life lesson for me. But you can see how I absorbed my parents' relationship with money and made it my own. And then you tie that, connect it with the messages I absorbed from society, from the collective, our collective shadows around money and material and resource. And it reinforced my unconscious operating system with money. Because what is the message we receive from religion? Money is the root of all evil. And I experienced that. I experienced the way in which money was used to control, to coerce, to oppress, to manipulate. Right? And that feeds into the subconscious, unconscious rejection of money. I also learned money doesn't buy happiness. Right? We would go on these really nice, expensive family vacations, and it was misery. I would spend the whole time crying, weeping, praying, get me the fuck out of here. The experience was so miserable. It didn't matter how lush or luxe it could have been. It didn't feel nice or pleasurable or abundant. It felt like misery. Money doesn't buy happiness. Right? And then, of course, we see how people with so much money are extractive, are exploitative. These billionaires that hoard. They don't need all that money. They don't need it all. And we see how money is used in these really distorted ways. And we create all of these different stories and feelings about money when really it's neutral. It's a tool. It's a resource. It's something that can be exchanged for something else. It doesn't really mean anything. But there is so much meaning attached to it through our cultural and social norms. Right? So then there's that whole side that a lot of people, especially mission-driven, purpose-driven people, face, which is that if I have money, I'll be like that. Many of us reject money because we associate it with this evil, with this greed, with overconsumption, with distortion, with extraction, with exploitation. And so we reject the thing that we need to survive because other people have used it in these distorted ways. And we don't want to be like that. But again, money's just neutral, right? And, I see this, all of my clients, their relationship to money is a reflection of their parents' relationship to money in some way. So, for example, one of my clients, her challenges around money are really related to frivolous spending, right? Just kind of indulging in how she uses her money. And that is really the result of having rejected her father's relationship to money. So he was always, very concerned. He was always in scarcity. And that meant you can't have this. I can't buy you that. You can't wear things like this, right? It's like all these restrictions and limitations that were placed on her because of his relationship with money. And she rejected that. And then she just started kind of throwing money around, right? Her rejection of his limitation actually became her limitation. Because what happened is that she then got herself into a lot of debt. And now, right, is in this position where she's like reflecting her dad's experience with money. I have to restrict, I have to budget, I have to limit myself, I have to be careful. Because in rejecting my dad's story, I have now put myself in a position where I am living his story. Okay, so these are the ways in which we are absorbing other people's stuff. Like my dad, for example. Why does my dad use money in the way that he does? Because his mom does the same thing with money. His mom tries to buy people off, to pay for people's love. That is what my dad is doing. I am experiencing it as manipulation. I am experiencing it as control. But his intention, his purpose, is to ensure that he has connection. But he tries to buy it. But his mom does the same thing, right? So he absorbed her money stuff. He gave it to me. right? This is another example of how this stuff is repeating generationally, intergenerationally. And one of the I think hardest things about shifting our patterns is that we're trying to do it in isolation. We feel that we have to hold everything alone. We have to figure this stuff out by ourselves because there's so much shame attached to it. But actually, the reason that it becomes traumatic for us is because we had to experience it and hold it and be with it alone. That's actually what makes it traumatic, is that there was no witness, there was no holding, there was no one there to let us know we don't have to feel shame about this. And so that's why I have created my program, RootWork for Liberation, to really be a community experience, a supportive community of solidarity, where you will be held and witnessed in a collective field of care and compassion, so we can melt the shame, so we can disarm, so we can let ourselves be supported, held. We don't have to do it alone. In fact, we can't. Coming back to my money thing, I cannot do it alone. I have to receive support, even if that means somebody is paying me for a service, right? I have to be supported. And so for me, part of my learning is discerning who is safe and who is not when it comes to money. Is it safe to receive from this person or that person? I have to be supported. We all have to be supportive. And I have designed RootWork for Liberation to be a supportive experience, a container of connection, where we are showered in empathy, compassion, love, where we can just be witnessed in the truth of our experience and how hard it sometimes is. So if you're interested in joining RootWork for Liberation, join the waitlist in the show notes. Come this Sunday, November 23rd, to the program preview. Bring with you one challenge, one area of stuckness, a pattern you keep looping through, and together we will unearth the origins of that pattern, the deeper need underlying it, and begin to work with it to shift the way it shows up in your lived experience. So I hope to see you there, and be sure to tune in tomorrow for the last day of the Seeding Liberation series, where we are going to talk about the shadow of projection.